Good morning! The Muncie Ironman Triathlon is tomorrow. See how some people are preparing for this event.
We had some very special guests visit Ball State this week. See who the first guests are in the Media Experts in Residence series.
Plus, a big weekend for Ball State sports ahead. Hear what teams we are most excited to see. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal weather. I'm Amelia Winter.
And I'm Erin Shupert.
We start off this morning with a developing story. A statewide silver alert was issued last night just after 11 p.m. for the disappearance of 25-year-old Noah Elliott of Eden. Eden is 6'1", 274 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Police say he also has a tattoo of a rose with thorns on his left forearm. He was last seen wearing a maroon t-shirt with black cuffs, dark green joggers, and black Timberland boots, and was driving a black 2014 Ford Fusion with the Indiana license plate 425RBH. Elliott is believed to be in extreme danger and may require medical assistance. If you have any information on this man, you are asked to call 911 or contact the Eden Police Department.
The last supermoon of the year peaked around 6 a.m. this morning, so not too long ago for us. It was much closer to Earth than usual and appeared bigger and brighter. This version is called the harvest moon, as a nod to the fall season. Other names include corn marker moon, moon of brown leaves, or autumn moon. The terms are different south of the equator since it's springtime there, but we can all agree that it looked stunning. Yeah, on my way to campus this morning, I did notice the moon, and it was really pretty. It was bigger and brighter.
It definitely was, and the weather was super nice, and there was a very good breeze.
Yes,
now we're going to
definitely.
take it with Olivia for our weather.
Yeah, so it was a very nice morning this morning, but there is a fog advisory this morning from the National Weather Service covering most of Indiana. So if you're traveling this morning, you're going to want to be careful. Take some extra time as you're traveling to work or to school. Current temperatures are 64 in Muncie, 61 in Indianapolis, a little warmer up north in Fort Wayne, and then cooler down west near Terre Haute at around 50 degrees. Out the door, we're looking at the conditions. So we're going to see an increase in temperatures through this evening. As that fog clears out, we're going to be left with some high pressure, and that sun is going to come down and warm us up just a little bit. And then what we are tracking overall is dense morning fog, and then beautiful weekend weather, and then a warm up into next week, which I will talk more about in my other forecast.
Thank you, Olivia. Muncie is about to be a little busier this weekend.
The 2023 Muncie Ironman Triathlon is set for tomorrow, and for years it's brought in hundreds of spectators and athletes from around the globe.
Sawyer Osman has the opportunity to meet some of this year's competitors and how they are preparing for the race.
The countdown is on for over 1,000 athletes from all over the globe. And Muncie is welcoming one of the largest race spectacle events in the world. That is the 70.3-mile Ironman.
This is my first 70.3, so I'm nervous, but I'm really well prepared. I'm a member of the Empire Tri Club in New York City, so I've been training since June, but still, you're really nervous. I can totally do it. I just want to finish it and have one behind me because I want to do a lot more of them. And I picked this one because it was recommended for first time. This is the first one. And I love to drive, so I drove from New York and came down.
Whether this is the first triathlon for some or just another crossed off the list for others, all of these competitors are getting their last bits of training and preparing in before the big day. Competitors, members of the community, and staff gather at the Horizon Convention Center for last-minute gear-up.
You have to really put a lot of time and effort of, budgeting your time so you can do better and finish it healthy.
And not only is preparation happening indoors these 2 days leading up to the big event, but preparation is also happening here outdoors. Behind me is a look at Prairie Creek Reservoir, where the swimmers will be making their mark in a 1.2-mile swim. That'll be followed by a 56-mile cycle here on the county roads, as well as a 13.1-mile run to top it all off this weekend.
In Muncie, Sawyer Osman, NewsLink, Indiana.
Last night, professionals and the media experts in the Resident Series held a Q&A session in the Arts and Journalism building with two special guests.
Actor David Arquette and his wife Christina Arquette visited Ball State CCIM students to give them a perspective of working in the film industry, as well as in journalism. Students were able to ask questions as well as get insight on the newest documentary the Arquettes are working on, featuring Bozo the Clown.
We are the first experts in residence here at Ball State University, and it's been really amazing from the media side to the theater side.
Yeah, we've had a great time. The students and the Ball State in general, the facility here is just incredible, and all the teachers, and it's just amazing.
There are big plans coming to Ball State, specifically for those with an eye for theater.
NewsLink Indiana's Olivia Slonaker fills us in on the upcoming performance hall set to open near the village.
The empty hall that sits on the corner of McKinley Avenue and University Avenue holds a vision. It holds an opportunity to elevate the community of Muncie. It holds a performance hall.
And so this Performing Arts Center came about after many years, 20 years I've been the chair of really working and trying to strive to get better facilities for our students so that they can be in places that ultimately are indicative of the talent that they have.
Now, you won't find many outside performers in this location. This hall, which remains to be named, will be the new hub for all things theater and dance for the Ball State students. Dance studios, black box theaters, and a major stage, all made with the students of the Department of Theater and Dance in mind.
I think the new dance studios are definitely what's most needed because there's not a lot of room. Being clamped up in BG 101 and 104, those dance studios are very small, and having 3 new dance studios the size of KDS is a big deal, and a lot more people will be able to take dance classes that aren't just theater majors.
The total cost for the hall is estimated to be $60 million, all provided through private donors. Students like Devin Humphrey, a sophomore acting major, hope to find themselves performing on the beautiful stage shortly after its completion.
It's going to bring wonderful opportunities to Ball State, to Muncie, and obviously to the students. I'm really excited for what it's going to do to revitalize the department, or change the department in I think, really profound ways. So.
Along with the new performance hall, people can look forward to a new hotel attached via lobby, as well as a roof bar. This project is considered the catalyst for a much bigger renovation.
The fact of the matter is we're trying to create destination realities or destination opportunities for the city of Muncie.
In Muncie, Olivia Slonaker, NewsLink, Indiana.
As of now, the groundbreaking for the construction of the hall is set for the spring of 2024. As long as work stays on schedule, Muncie can expect an opening ceremony in the mid to late spring of 2026. Just ahead, check out the mysterious mural, the serious natural phenomenon popping up around the world.
That's after your weather now. Welcome back. It turns out the rare and mysterious fairy circles of Namibia and Australia may not be so rare after all. A new study indicates the round discs of barren dirt that look like polka dots and spread 4 miles over the ground may be far more widespread than once thought. Fairy circles were previously spotted only in Western Australia's outback and southern Africa's Namib Desert. But a new study used artificial intelligence to identify vegetation patterns resembling fairy circles in hundreds of new locations across 15 countries on 3 continents. This could help scientists understand fairy circles and their formation on a global scale.
Ringling Brothers is coming back after a 6-year hiatus, but its animals are not. Whether or not that still makes it a circus is debatable, but the company says it's sure of one thing. People will pay to see people do amazing things. That means no more watching an elephant play basketball. Instead, fans can see a teenage human rocket and a record-setting unicyclist. The first show is today in Louisiana, with 2 years of stops across the country already planned. Switzerland's glaciers are shrinking at an alarming rate. They had their worst melting rate on record, losing 10% of their ice volume in just 2 years. According to Swiss Glacier Monitoring Network, Swiss glaciers have lost as much ice over the last 2 years as was lost over a 30-year period between 1960 and 1990. New records show that a combination of low snowfall and extremely warm temperatures caused the melting, and the problem is not restricted to Switzerland. Recent research has found that even if ambitious global climate targets are met, up to half of the world's glaciers could disappear by the end of the century. Now let's see what the weather is looking like across the country. Aaliyah, what can you tell us?
Thank you. Good morning. We are looking at the national temperatures. Right here in Muncie, Indiana is 64 degrees. Down in Dallas, Fort Worth is 74 degrees, and up north in Billings is 45 degrees. Moving to today's highs, is going to be hot today. 78 in Cincinnati, 96 in Dallas, Fort Worth, 80 in Denver, 95 in Las Vegas, and cooling as we go north to 61 in Seattle. The current watches and warnings, right now I'm looking at the eastern part of the country over by New York. There's flash flood warnings. They are going to be accumulating a lot of rain, and they have a flash flood warning. Moving more to the west is very foggy, dense fog in central Indiana and eastern Illinois. And moving to more west, there is another flood advisory in El Paso. They're going to be experiencing some rain throughout today. And then this pink stuff means it is a red flag warning. So that means it is very, very dry. So there is no fires allowed, no bonfires, no campfires. And be very careful when you are grilling out to not let that fire spread. It can be very dangerous. Looking at the precision cast, like I said, over in New York, they're going to be accumulating a lot of rain today, so they do have that flood warning. And like I said, again, in El Paso, it is going to be getting more rain today, so make sure that you're being cautious if you're in those areas with the floods. But other than that, most of our country is looking pretty general, not a lot of rain for the central part of the country. Back to them at the desk.
Bruce Willis's wife, Emma, has been very vocal about the struggles of caregiving for her husband. The actor's family went public with his diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia earlier this year. Caring for a loved one who's sick can take a toll on physical and mental health. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has ways caregivers can also care for themselves.
One more.
It's a labor of love, but being a caretaker to a loved one who can't care for themselves isn't easy.
Caregivers often face a relentless cycle of responsibilities with really little respite.
Nick Allen is leading an ongoing study at The Ohio State University researching the toll caregiving takes. Over time, he says caregivers can feel extreme stress, isolation, and depression, and it can be made worse if the care partners don't care for themselves, too.
Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.
Allen says that starts by maintaining social connections, keeping up activities you enjoy.
Most hobbies that people have align with their values. And so when somebody lets them go, life can become a little bit unmoored from those values.
Focus on your physical health by being active and take care of mental health too. Allen says coping skills are key.
We believe even brief stress reduction skills can improve quality of life immensely.
If you know someone who's caring for another, it's also important to support them. Allen says that includes educating yourself on what it means to be a caregiver, providing emotional support, offering respite care, and if that's not possible, showing them compassion and empathy.
Let them know that you see them, hear them, and support them.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
If there is a baby in your home, then you need to listen up. Federal safety regulators are warning consumers to stop using a certain bassinet immediately because it could possibly be deadly for a baby. The warning from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission applies to 5-in-1 rocker bassinets. The CPSC says they pose suffocation, strangulation, and fall hazards to infants. They were sold online at Walmart.com and other websites, and were sold in green and gray color schemes. The agency also says the bassinets fail to meet the safety requirements of its infant sleep products rule. The CPSC says the product's importer, Rev Grace Import, is not cooperating with it on the recall and is not offering a remedy to consumers. Consumers are being urged to stop using immediately and throw them out. In just a moment, we're giving you a preview of Ball State's athletics busy weekend.
That's after another look at your weather now.
Welcome back to Cardinal Weather. I'm Andy Newman.
And I'm Jake Dickman. Ball State has a big weekend in sports. Let's take a look at the schedule.
So obviously, starting today, cross country has already started their competition at the Loyola Lakefront Invitational. That is set for all day today. And then also going on today, women's volleyball is taking on Eastern Michigan at 6 p.m. in Worthen Arena.
And there's a bit of a typo on the schedule for Saturday. Field hockey at home against Kent State is actually set for 12 p.m. high noon, not 3:30 p.m. The Ball State football game at Western Michigan, however, is set for 3:30 p.m. And later that night at 4 p.m., Ball State women's volleyball takes on Eastern Michigan in the second game of a weekend doubleheader.
And then to round out the weekend on Sunday, men's golf is at the Badger Invitational in Wisconsin for the day. And then soccer is taking on Western Michigan in Kalamazoo at 1 p.m. And I don't know, do you think that soccer is taking the same bus as football to Kalamazoo or maybe a little bit different?
Maybe some of them are on the same bus as football,
I doubt
there might be
it.
a few
I doubt it. Well, okay, well, let's take a look at our, obviously we've just seen the schedule. Let's take a look at our most anticipated matchups for the weekend. I have mine. It is the women's field hockey game tomorrow at 12 p.m. Fleur Knopert is on an absolute tear for women's field hockey this year. I mean, we used to call her Fleur Noppert, but we've actually been corrected as Fleur Knopert, the absolute GOAT from the Netherlands. Women's field hockey started out at 0-4 this year, and now they've been on a 5-game win streak. They are 5-4. Fleur Knopert is third in the countries in goals per game so far this year, and has had 2 hat tricks in her past 2 matchups versus Central Michigan and Lindenwood. Absolutely crazy stats from Fleur. And then Kent State this weekend, not a great opponent. They're only 2-7 so far in the year, but it's still a MAC matchup and obviously something that Ball State really wants to win, get ahead in the MAC there. The Cards are now 2-0 in MAC play. Look for Fleur Canopert to actually take control of this game once again, have another hat trick maybe, and that matchup once again is set for 12 p.m. on Saturday. And then what's your anticipated matchup for this weekend, Jake?
Mine's also a Saturday game, Andy.
Okay.
But it's the football game.
Oh, okay.
Against
Of
Western
course.
Michigan, the MAC opener, of
Yeah.
course. Traveling to Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Two very similar teams, both 1-3 on the season. Both are yet to win a game against an FBS opponent. But it's a tale of two halves for both Western Michigan. They like to come out of the gates fast. They like to build on the running game immediately. But if you look at their last game against Toledo, they gave up 35 points in the final 25 minutes. That's against a Toledo team that likes to run a lot. They got very, very tired late in that game. It sounds to me like Ball State needs to get Marquez Cooper going. They need to pressure Western Michigan's freshman quarterback, Trayson Borgett. And at that point, maybe force some turnovers, win the rushing game, win the turnover battle, win the game.
I completely agree. And there is no doubt that this is a weekend that is full of sports and supposed to be obviously very, very fun. We wish them all the best in their respective matchups.
Let's hope that the weather cooperates with the Cards too. Now over to Olivia.
This weekend will be beautiful, sunny skies, but for this morning, we are sitting in this little patch of fog. Down south in Newcastle, there's some heavy fog, but we're currently in a light, moderate fog area, so just be careful if you're commuting out to school or to work, and just be aware of this fog warning. Current temperatures are 64 in Muncie, 61 in Indianapolis. Down south, it's a little cooler, nothing crazy, just normal, mild fall-like temperatures. The radar is currently clear with this high pressure system sitting over us. It will be clearing out this fog, and the sun will kind of dissipate this. Dissipate this fog and leave us with clear skies through the rest of the day. And then taking a look at the next 12 hours, we can see this closer as the temperatures increase. This morning has been mild, and then through this afternoon, temperatures will increase a little and be beautiful for a nice walk. Walking to class should be very pleasant. And then normal temperatures for this time of year at 76 degrees. The average high is 74. The record is 89. We are far from the record, but this weekend we will have an increase in temperatures. Tonight, mostly clear skies at 61 degrees. There will be a light breeze from the east, so a great night for a bonfire or anything like that, just to get outside, because it will be a very clear and beautiful night. For tomorrow, mostly sunny skies at 54 degrees for the Ironman Triathlon. This will be at 8 a.m. at the Prairie Creek Reservoir. Pretty chilly though, so I don't know if you're participating in that. You might want a wetsuit or something, because it is going to be cold. The water temperatures will be cold. This weekend, we are going to see an increase in temperatures. Saturday will be 78 degrees, Sunday 81 degrees. So we're going back to almost summer-like temperatures. So don't get too used to these fall temperatures. Hopefully, I mean, living in Indiana, we go back and forth between fall and summer. That's just a part of living here. So hopefully by next week, we'll be back to fall. Looking at the next 7 days, we can see Ironman will be 78 degrees, and then we'll have this warm up into Tuesday with sunny skies. So do you guys have any plans for this weekend?
I think with the nice heat wave we're expecting, I think I might go to the pool with my friends. Maybe we'll go to the dunes or something, because we're in Indiana. There's a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'll probably just stay home and wish for that fall weather to finally appear.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't really get these clear fall and summer seasons. It kind of jumps straight from summer to winter. I love fall. So.
Yeah, and it seems like that fall is just getting shorter every single year. It feels like the weather just gets hotter and fall just gets shorter, but you know what? That never trumps my spirit on fall and all of the season that comes with it.
Yes, and once we finally have that fall weather, we'll all appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, Olivia.
You're welcome.
Americans have been signing fewer contracts to buy homes. The National Association of Realtors says pending home sales dropped last month. Its report out to Thursday shows a more than 7% dip from July. That's short of the analysis expectations, and it suggests would-be buyers may be balking at high interest rates. This is the highest rate they've been in 23 years.
All the parents and guardians watching right now, just imagine this. You're taking your child or children to daycare next week, and all of a sudden, you find out the daycare you love and trust could be closing suddenly. Advocates say that's the reality that can unfold because federal funds for childcare providers, billions of dollars in pandemic aid, expire this weekend. Mike Valerio explains.
I worry what's going to happen to those moms now, specifically the single parents.
Delisa Ubreu, a single mother of two, had to leave her job to take care of her kids during the pandemic. Now she worries she may have to do the same thing again because historic federal funding for childcare expires this weekend. Meaning childcare costs could soar, and supporters of the funding say daycares could be forced to close.
I lose sleep over it. It's a constant worry.
This weekend, we'll see the expiration of a $24 billion federal COVID-19 pandemic support program, funding that helped childcare providers stay afloat and help to make daycare more affordable. Mom Alex McGann says even with the federal help, care for her daughter was still too expensive.
After running all the numbers and assessing all of our options, we realized that we would probably be losing money if we did send her to daycare.
According to the Century Foundation, a progressive think tank, when federal support expires, more than 70,000 childcare programs are projected to close nationwide, and more than 3 million children could be at risk of losing access to care.
If mamas and daddies can't get care for their babies, they can't go to work.
There is bipartisan support to extend childcare funding. The main issue, how to pay for it.
Do we raise taxes? Do we just borrow it? I mean, we are running big deficits, and deficits do matter.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Coming up, O'Hare Airport has some new employees. See who has been in charge of mowing.
That's after your weather now.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, NewsLink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. NewsLink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
Sometimes the greatest of all time is an actual goat. The folks at Chicago's O'Hare Airport might think so. They're thinking the herd of goats and sheep that help with landscaping. The airport contracts with Vegetation Solutions in Wisconsin for the seasonal project on the property. Advocates say such animals are quieter and better for the environment than mowers. Plus, they seem to have a real taste for their work.
That's all for Cardinal weather for this Friday morning. Thank you for joining this morning.
We'll see you next Friday. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic week. Oh,